today, if you can, right, sit together with the husband and wife, if you can. I'm going to talk about how you can like make a good experience in marriage relationship. So please sit together. Also, also young adult, right? Eventually, you're going to find your spouse. So this is going to help you to prepare. So let's study through together. And in August, I talk about our faith, right, which is a deeply rooted faith, how we can attain that, right? And at that time, I was sharing Father Moon's word. What is the purpose of faith? It is not just to be devoted for God, but to restore the original relationship between God and His children, Adam and Eve, before the fall, and realize the joy God intended to experience through idea of creation by fulfilling the three blessings, right? So, in essence, the essence of our faith is not just the devoting to God, restoring the relationship with God, restoring the relationship between me and my parents, me and my spouse, me and my children, and all the people around here. That's God's idea of creation, really restoring that original relationship He intended to create. So, so that means that our purpose of life is really restoring the relationship, right? That's the very strong, clear teaching from Father Moon and Mother Moon, and realizing the three great blessings. So we have this three great blessing chart. If you can see, everything is relationship, isn't it? First blessing is be fruitful, right? Centered on God, my mind and body relate, right? And then become mature person. And then second blessing is a mature man and mature woman centered on God again, create harmonious relationships, and then creating harmonious family. And that extend, right? And human beings can relate with all creation and create this harmonious world. That's the idea of God's creation. So if you think about then everything is relationship in this chart, right? All arrow going back and forth that represent relationships. So out of all these relationships you've been experienced, or also you will be experienced, one of the very challenging relationships among them, right, will be the relationship between husband and wife. I experienced that, and many of you going through that journey, or many of you will have that journey in the future. So today, I'd like to share how we can make this relationship more engaging, right, and be better. Also see from the God's perspective. So first of all, vertical relationship, right, which is more God and earth, or you and our parents and me. That's a more natural thing, right? You don't need to educate. For example, a woman pregnant, right, and then deliver baby. You don't need to bring her and educate her. You have to love your baby. You have to feed your baby, right? You don't need to. It's all natural, just happening, right? When woman deliver baby, immediately, instantly, the woman start really pouring down all the love she has to children. That's how we received from the love we received from our parents, right? And then we are also giving to our children. So that's a vertical relationship. But horizontal relationship can be challenging because this one of the example is a husband-wife, right? This horizontal relationship. It requires more effort. It doesn't just happen, right, automatically. You have to continuously put effort and working together to really realize that harmonious union with your spouse as well. So in Korea, our a level degree of kinships, Korean people use the number. Do you know? So for example, my parents and me is a one degree of one kinship, and then you and your sibling is what? Two. So meaning that my father's brother, what's the kin number? Me and my father is one, right? My father's and his brother is two. So if you come together, 1 plus 2 become 3, right? So in Korea we call it 삼촌. Sam is number 3, right? 삼촌. In America it's all uncle, right? Uncle, auntie, that's it. But we can articulately understand the closeness of kinship. 삼촌. What about my father's brother's son? My relationship with my father's brother's son. Four, right? Me, my parents 1, my father's and his brothers 2, so 3, and him to his children is 1, right? So you all circle back that you can see 4. So we can call it a 사촌. 사촌 is a relative, like a brother and sister in relative like relationship, 사촌. What about my father's brothers, sons and son? This 오촌, you can travel through, right? It's 5, 오촌. So we can kind of understand the relationship, how close, right, you are with the person in your relatives, right? It's very interesting. Do you know that what's the number between husband and wife? What do you think? 0. Yeah, genius. Yeah, 0. You know why 0? Yeah, you're meant to be one together, right? But also, if you separate, divorce, there's no kin relationships, right? Many people divorce, nothing, right? After that, they don't have any relationship. Nothing, just shattered, right? Broken, right? That's why it's 0. It's representing, if you succeed and do good, then it's going to be oneness, representing 0. There's no gap, right? Just 0. But if you broke the relationship, there's no level of kinships, right? That's why 0. So that's really representing that how the difficult relationship of husband wife, right? Also, this is we can if you learn today, I'm going to share more how we can make it better. You can apply that to any relationship, not just husband wife, right? We have to understand that how men's tendency, right, their character, and how woman's thinking, right? If you understand it well, that when you communicate within brother and sister too, you have a better way to understand, better way to communicate, better way to get together, right? So I will share more detail. So divine principle teach that God is harmonious union of masculinity and femininity, right? Male and female. And if you look at all God's creation is a combination, right? Of what? Masculinity and then femininity. From animal to plant to molecules, everything, right? Has that plus and minus kind of a figure. So God's Genesis 1:27 say God created man in his own image. The image of God created male and female, right? So meaning that God created Adam and Eve, male and female, to resemble himself. Meaning that me, myself alone cannot fully resemble God, right? You need your spouse. Husband need a wife, and together can really resemble God, right? That's what they mean, Genesis 1:27. Then the question is that how we can achieve that harmonious union with our spouse, right? That's the question. I was thinking that, and actually, my wife was also like, we've been talking, and then she also gave me one book I studied, enjoyed. So I'm gonna use some what I learned from that book as well. So how we can achieve that harmonious union? Do you feel that I already achieved harmonious union with my spouse, Sojiyoung and Sakina, right? You feel like, oh yes, we are already resembling God. We fulfilled, right, harmonious union of a male and female representing God. Do you feel that? Or are you still striving? We're still going through that process. What do you say? Working on it, right? Working on it. Anyone say, I achieved. I'm done. Oh, Steve, right? You know that take confidence, right? Yeah, that's great. All right, let's give a big hand to Steve. Yeah, he feel that. Achieve the harmonious union, right? Husband and wife. Okay, so I want to ask our wife or sisters, okay, what do you expect from your husband? So Sakina, you're working on it, right? Do you have a microphone? Yeah, let's give her so that she can speak. Okay, so what do you expect from your husband? How you can be better and then feel like we are reaching the harmonious union? What do you say?
Okay.
Yep. What do you expect from your husband?
Um, there is so many things I expect from my husband, but
All right.
the most is just love, respect, and consideration. That's the three things I respect from.
Yeah, love and care, right? I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
Love, respect, and
Respect.
consideration.
Consideration.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. All right. So then let's give another sister. Okay, Kachiko-san. Okay, you can give to your husband, your wife, Raymond. Let's hear from Kachiko-san. What do you expect from Raymond? You have some trouble? No? You can say, yeah, that's okay. Help me to share my message. What do you expect? Yeah.
I didn't expect. I don't know how to
Okay.
say. Father said, as it,
Yeah.
I can accept. I have to change, right?
I see.
Yeah,
So you rather change myself, right?
Yeah.
Not asking Raymond to do something. Okay, that's a deep heart, right? Okay. Let's pass to maybe Mary Jane. Do you have anything you expect from Gordon Anderson? Let's hear.
Well, he's supposed to be my Messiah, so he's supposed to bring me closer to God.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, right? That's great. Anyone? I want to share. I have to share today. Anyone raise hand? Okay. So I hear that sisters looking for some like comfort, right? Support, like a father figure, right? Like Mary Jane also mentioned that my Messiah, like a father figure, right? Guiding me, leading me. Also like security, right? When I walk the path, the person can guide me for the security. Some women may think about financial side for security too, right? The men usually contribute, right? Really dedicate for home, right? For financial side. So you can think about that too. But also usually wife also looking for, when you have some trouble, right? Wife also looking for my husband to listen to me, isn't it? Raise your hand if you have that kind of moment. Okay, I'm talking and my husband is so stubborn, right? Can you be, right? Can you be sometime like obedient or listen to me like my son, right? Do you have that kind of moment too? Right? Yeah, that's what I hear. So people sometimes feel like, yeah, my husband, like my father, like my husband, also like my son. Sometimes just follow my lead sometime, right? When I say that also struggle I hear. So I'm gonna give you some secret how to handle your husband. Make your husband work for you. Do you know how to do, Sakina? You don't know? Okay, so maybe let's picture that. This is a many couple have this situation. I'm also doing. So you're driving, your wife is sitting next to you, you're driving. And usually the wife keep talking, right? You go so fast. Slow down. Make left turn, right turn, right? Is that happening? Also sometimes, like you're trying to find the way, direction. Maybe before we having all the navigation smartphone, you have to try to find the direction, right? And then sometimes you struggle. You went there and then lost and then come back again trying to find another way. Then you start hearing your wife is telling, hey, what about we stop and ask direction? Then usually what man does, right? Jim, you want to confess? This is what I do. Leave me alone. I know. I'll figure it out, right? Give me time. I'm figuring out. I can smell the direction. That's what I usually say. So that kind of a thing, usually that conversation can happen, right? Have you experienced, Sakina, that kind of thing, right? Yeah, I see from my parents too, when they're together, right? My mom always talking to my husband, go this way, that way. And they're a little bit kind of a struggle. So man and woman live a very different world. Men live in a world of power that prove their ability through work, and women live in a world of a relationship that connect mind. And men are most proud when they show their ability, and women are happiest when they are loved and have a good relationship. So during the driving, wives wanna just help, right? Wanna relate. What about suggesting, right? What about we ask a direction, right? But the man is more like in the thought of like receiving like a approval, right? Ability. I can do this. I don't need to depend on too much, right? Depend on you. That kind of a situation you may witness many times. So how wife can work with that kind of husband then? What do you think? Esther, you nodded, right? You have experience. So in that case, what do you do, Esther? How are you going to do? Your husband is so stubborn and saying, I can do, just leave me alone. Let me figure it out. Don't talk, right? Keep talking like that, right? Then what do you say to your husband, Esther?
I just keep quiet.
Be quiet, okay.
Yeah,
I give up.
I understand and I'll be quiet, but I hope that this person will understand too and he could consider things.
Okay, good, yeah. So that's happened many times, right? At the end of this kind of conversation, several times, wife give up. Okay, I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna suggest, right? That kind of thing happen. So even like do this say. So when you asking husband, because the husband need that like a feeling of I'm a competent person with the ability can do things, right? So for example, you asking your husband, right, can you throw away the like a garbage, for example? Even though you can really compliment him, right? Show that, oh, thank you. You just came back from work and still you want to help and then you're doing this. Thank you. Recognize his work. Then husband will really excited. Okay, I received that. Feel like I become a competent person. I can do this thing, right? Even like when husband put the nail on the wall, right? And okay, he's trying, struggle, right? And then if wife saying, forget about, I'll do. You're so terrible, then what husband gonna feel, right? Then it cannot create a good relationship. So when you deal with the husband, you have to really understand the man's character. Man needs that kind of ability he want to show and receives competence, like a feeling that I'm a competent person to do this thing. So when you're asking your husband to do something, then you have to work accordingly, right? Give a good complimenting word. Thank you. Or it's like you tap your husband's butt, right? Good job. Then your husband will do anything you ask. Because I will do anything my wife asks, right? So have that kind of relationship. Understand the person. Also husband, right? When you see your wife, you have to more understand the emotion part of your wife. If you know that you're going to have a more challenging relationship. So let's ask a husband then. Okay, husband. What do husband expect from his wife? What does a husband expect from his wife? So Reverend Bart, what do you expect from your wife? What do you think?
I suppose affection.
Affection.
That,
Okay.
that she's
Beauty, yes.
that she's affection. That
Okay.
express some kind of
I see.
love and
More,
support.
I see. Express more love, right?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great too. So when I hear from people, men also desire wife like a woman, right? Able to really kind of get close to have like loving relationships. Also sometimes like a daughter, right? So meaning that daughter is always smiling, right? And then try to have a good relationship. She's not demanding, right? She's not like ordering you to do something, right? So men desire kind of ask of daughters from wife, and also mother, kind of a comfort. When husband go through difficult time, right? You exhausted for the day. When you come back, if your wife is like a mother, comforting him, supporting him, right? Thinking about, oh, your day must be very hard. Yeah, please take care, rest here. I will take care of everything else, right? That kind of a comfort husband want to receive it too. So we can like think about in this relationship between husband and wife, there's lots of role we have to fill in, right? Man has to fill in like a man, right? And father figure, a son figure, and also husband, right? Wife also wife also need to be like a mother figure, like a daughter figure, also like a woman figure, right? So that we can still have a strong attraction each other, right? Affection each other. So lots of like a role and responsibility we have to think about. So it's not easy relationships, right? Between husband and wife. There's many expectations, many roles we are expecting. So which means that wife can live well with her husband only when she become like a daughter and like a mother and woman. So your wife becoming like a daughter, like becoming mother, becoming woman, then man really can get along with the wife very well, right? Same way, wife too, right? When your husband becoming like a father figure, have security, right? And then man, right? Comforting and guiding, also like sometimes like a son figure, then the wife can have a good relationship with her husband. So it's complicated, isn't it? It's not easy. So since each of them is expecting many different roles, so it's not easy. So you can see like there's lots of failure, broken family. Yeah? In America, right, there's lots of broken family. So 53% of Americans go through divorce. You get married, right? 53% go through the divorce and separate. And then they find another person, marry again. Half of them divorce again. So think about the children. So their first divorce in their parents, and then one side the parents married again, divorce again. So in that situation in America, 40% children are growing without father in America. It's a common thing, right? If you go to your school, it's a common thing. It's not a kind of rare thing. Many children going through this kind of experience. So after years of conflict, right, some couples may decide to be emotionally distant with his or her spouse, knowing that the other person do not like this, that. So I just not gonna touch, avoid that, and adjust my expectation for the other person. So I cannot get like a closer, right? So because of that situation, I want to avoid that conflict. So you start not talking about, you start not relating, you put distance. So even you live together, becoming like you have an emotional distance. Isn't it? Yeah, so today I like you to think about, do you have an emotional distance with my spouse? Right? If you keep this way, then this becoming emotional divorce. Doesn't mean that you live together, mean that you have that husband-wife harmonious union relationships. You cannot resemble God. You just rather choose that, okay, he like this one, okay, that way. I like this one, don't touch mine, right? And then start creating that distance, your emotional distance. That leads to emotional divorce, right? So that's we have to seriously think of how we can do better. It looks like all living together, no problem, but many couples going through that kind of situation. Especially our church, right? Many of us is a matched marriage. I got matched through picture. There's two pictures put together. That's how I match it, right? And then you have to learn how to drive together. When you have that marriage blessing, doesn't mean that you know everything. You just got drive license. Now you have to drive your car with your wife, right? Sometimes you have to go slow, right? And then you may have a scratch on side, but you have to drive together, learning the skill of driving and learning the skill to deal with that all the situation. Also protect your spouse, right? So we are learning and going through that journey. But through this difficult conversation, sometimes we stop relating each other. We know that there's a truth, all the divine principle teaching, idea is there, but when you reflect our life, honestly, I don't see how many couples really reaching that perfection, harmonious union. I didn't see from my parents, honestly, right? So if your children start seeing that kind of result, that's the most like a precious gift for your children, because they learn. You guys kind of teaching your child how to drive, right? You do that, right? When your children try to get license, you don't just bring them to like a test, right? You have to teach them. So your life experience, how you relate with your husband, wife, how you do, how you walk, that all like you become mirror. And your children observing everything. And you're kind of teaching how to deal with. If you don't do well, then your children will learn how you did to your spouse. Right? Your children will repeat the same. So we have to seriously think about how we can dissolve this one and make it better relationship At the end, I want to really see holding my wife hand, my husband hand, right? Wow, what a journey we had together. Look back, right? Your life together. That kind of a accomplishment, right? The feeling of some achievement we can celebrate. That kind of a journey we want to go through together. So today I'd like to go deeper, how we can reach that, how we can utilize some teaching and then guidance I find. So what about fight? Do you fight, husband and wife? Sakina, Sojung, you fight sometime? Oh, I do all the time. You do only sometime? You are doing better than me. What about Reverend Bud? Do you fight with your Midori-san, your wife? Never. Oh, denier. Okay. Anyone, like a Chengba, right? Nancy, are you fighting sometime? So, fighting is good. Have a good fight. If you don't fight, you cannot learn. You cannot get closer. You create like sometimes emotional distance. You have to think about. So, when you fight, right, it's not one side is wrong or bad when a couple fight. Whether they are different in gender, right? Man and woman is different. How they thinking, how they feeling is all different. And personality types. Someone is more emotional, trying to engage some discussion than upset, right? I had one colleague in India. She's when you discuss something, then so upset. So I cannot talk much. I have to find a way to guide the person, right? Well, some person is so much like a factual thinking. When I listen to my wife, I'm a man is like that usually, factual thinking. So she talking, but usually woman is more emotional. Then you follow through. Doesn't make sense, right? I cannot follow. I cannot follow my wife. Okay, linking that. Okay, I don't understand, right? You had that moment, right? So we have to learn how we can then be better, communicate better, like overcome this challenge, and then recognize the difference. If you don't recognize difference, you don't know how to deal with that situation. If the person is more emotional, then what should you do? You become emotional too and fight? You have to understand the emotion, right? And then you have to walk out to like compromise and embrace the emotion part. So let's think about that together then. So you may have lots of vicious circle you had in our life, right? I try to make a good relationship, but sometimes it doesn't work. You're teasing, you're accusing your spouse, and then the spouse create another thing that is become vicious, like a circle, right? Going back and back, trigger another thing, and then, okay, 10 years ago, you had this one. I still remember. That kind of thing happens. So how we can convert that vicious circle to virtuous circle? Have you heard of virtuous circle? Virtuous circle is, Virtuous circle occurs when initial actions lead to additional outcome, and that reinforce the initial action leading to sustained growth. For example, I want to lose my weight, right? So I started exercising, and you kind of getting more energy through the exercise, and you can encourage more exercise, and you lose more weight, right? You start talking to, maybe Rina talked to Karen, good word, right? She's just so beautiful, tall, I like her, and then Karen talking to Rina, it's the same way, right? Like praising each other, so giving back and forth, that creates this virtuous circle as well. We can think about how we can create this virtuous circle in marriage relationships. Also, anyone you have relationships, you have a hard time, how we can turn this vicious circle to virtuous circle. That's important. So how are we going to do? I was reflecting my 28 years of my marriage with 4 children. All the time, all the memory we had together, good time, challenging time, talking, right? Fight, good fight. We had many, many cases. Maybe if you think of a count of a fight you had with your spouse, I could be number 1 here. But I really appreciate the time I had with my wife, because that allowed me to understand her better and reflect myself, and I learned how to drive better. You cannot just drive, right, bumpy road. Your wife sitting there, you have to drive and see how you can guide and slide the bumpy road with your spouse, right? That's very important. First of all, let's review. First thing I can think of is listen more. Instead of only talking about yourself, himself, herself, listen to your spouse more. Right? If you watch that conversation between husband and wife, sometimes one person dominate, isn't it? That happen. So it's always very important. You put more effort, right? And then put more importance on what the other person say. The relationship goes into then virtuous cycle, right? So meaning that you listen more. That's why we have 2 ears, and you have only one mouth, right? Listen more. That's one of the best skill, right? Before you want to say your own thing, but listen first. That will give you better like a circle of this virtuous circle, marriage relationship. So also when you listen, right, you sometimes good technique. Many people teach, right? You repeat that what the person said, summarize so that you confirm that this is what you mean. That's a good tactic too. You use that skill as well. And in order for men to get along with the woman, then husband must listen carefully what woman, my wife, has to say. And attitude is important. I know that sometimes I have a long conversation, I keep talking, then, okay, our pastor lady, I can become tired. My attitude is that, okay, I lie down. She's keep talking. And that's my maybe mistakes, right? You have to have a good attitude, nodding, and then eye contact. Sometimes, right, when my wife saying something I don't like to hear, then I naturally don't make eye contact. That's my problem too. I'm trying. So eye contact attitude is very important for women, right? So husband, raise hand. When you listen to your wife, we have to put your effort to connect to the emotional part of your wife and listen more, right? You can win maybe logically, I can prove that and I'm right. That doesn't really give you any benefit, isn't it? Yeah, emotional part is more important. So only the sympathize, the feels what your wife say and carefully listen the word and come out emotionally. That what's come out from her emotionally. Sometimes like when you have a fight, right, that something come out. And later she might say, oh, that's a mistake, but that may be true. Sometimes husband tease, right? Tease wife. Many cases that has some meaning. It's not like a mistake. So you have to be careful too, and then catch those things as well to understand the wife emotion as well. Second is that talk in someone's way, meaning that when wife is emotional type person, so then wife what should do? You cannot just express your emotion only. You have to be smart. Your husband is more factual thinking person. Then try to be also factual thing, right? Logically timeline, put this fact so that husband can understand better. That's one effort we can do. Because a husband think that factual relationship is wrong, then he's stuck. I cannot digest anymore. So when wife talking to husband, think about the factual relationship as well, not only the emotional thing. And also, say sorry. I don't know how many husbands here say sorry to your wife. Sojiyoung, I just keep asking you, but how are you doing? Do you say sorry to Sakina when you have to? Once in a while, yes. It's not easy thing for husband, right? What about Bruce? You say sorry to your wife often? All the time, yeah. Good. What about Gordon? You say sorry to Mary Jane? Okay. Maybe I don't need to. I didn't do anything wrong, right? So, but that part is very important. A couple often don't say sorry or don't even say thank you. Even something small thing did, right? Maybe, oh, this is a small mistake. I don't need to apologize. Right? This is a small thing. Oh, husband, just throw away the garbage trash. I didn't say thank you. That's things, or it's a very small thing, right? But when you express that, they're really changing your relationship. For example, you had that so wife was expecting to receive apology or hear sorry from husband. And the husband didn't ignore that. Okay, I don't need to say sorry. That happened again and again and accumulated, right? Then what's going to happen later? one day your wife will burst out. All those things still in usually woman's heart, right? And they're gonna spread out everything all at once. You're gonna have a bigger challenge, right? Very difficult time. Or wife maybe give up you, have a creating emotional distance. Okay, this man never gonna say sorry. I give up my expectation. Either way gonna happen, right? Either way it doesn't create good relationship between husband and wife. So when you say I should say sorry, then you have to articulate why I'm sorry about, right? You have to say about, not just sorry, right? People can say, men can say, but you have to articulate. Otherwise, that feeling is not go away. You cannot move on. That still stay. And when you have a moment, your spouse will start talking about again and again, right? So you have to articulate to move on and apologize and express your sorry or express your gratitude, right? Then you can move on. Otherwise, that pile up again. And then most case, husband and wife will start having that emotional distance. That's very important. Also, next is study yourself. How much you know yourself, right? I become upset. Why? Right? Or I like this and I don't like this. You have to discuss with your husband. For example, I don't like you do this. You have to say it and explain why, right? Or you liked this thing. For example, usually I like my wife, straightforward. Her birthday, I like to get this one. So I don't need to struggle. So she give me clear answer. Okay, I give that. So that's very good. But anyway, so have a clear thinking of yourself as well. Sometimes it took a while for me to understand myself either as well. So for example, I going upset so often in this situation. Why? I don't know. Just upset, repeating again and again and again. So good to think about yourself, what I like, what I become emotional, what I hate, what I usually trouble with my wife in that same routine, right? You have to think about. If you think, reflect yourself, know yourself better, then you can overcome that as well. Okay? Finally, have a time together. This is very important, right? How many of you going out together for your date? Regularly, not just once a while, regularly. Oh, Raymond, great, yeah. So this was one of my lifesaver. Without this, I may not be in this position or have a relationship with my wife. Because there's a moment, challenge in our life, right? When you raise your children, so many things you have to do. When they become teenager, another aspect, right? When they become adult, there's another aspect. You're going through together with your wife, together with your husband. So there's many you have to discuss. But when things happen, usually the couple only focus on big thing. First, children, right? Sometimes I felt like for many years, okay, me and my wife, relationship only for children, nothing else. I felt that way sometimes. Also money, right? Finance, very important. So we only talk about finance. What are you going to do? We have spent this money, right? How are you going to figure it out? So we don't have much time as a husband and wife to talk about our things, right? That's very important. So we've been discussing in ministry team. So we're going to begin our day night program. So you're going to take care of your children. So you guys can have some time together, right? Your own time. Forget about the big thing. You can discuss anytime, any day. But the day, right? The day and night, you just focus on yourself. Focus on your husband. Focus on your wife, right? That time allow you to have a good fight. We talk about all these different things we can do better. But without the time, you cannot experience. You cannot go over. You cannot really make it better relationship in your, right? Between your husband and wife. So having this time is very important. Go out date consistently, not just the one. Solve the knot, right? You have one knot you found, you go out date and solve it right away. If not, then it's nothing, another bigger knot. Later on, compiled, right? You cannot solve that. Anyone you have a good, precious relationship might be the same. Not only for your husband and wife, your sibling too, right? Before you having too much knots piling up, you may go out, have a time to really discuss about talk about that we can unknot, right? To solve that knot we can have in our life as well. So if we keep accumulating the knot, it becomes more difficult to solve. So work with the knot when you find the knot, right? And then try to resolve it. And keep working on not one thread by one thread, right? That's very important. So this process will create trust and confidence in the relationship and create the hope and create the circle of this virtuous circle, right? Anything you do something, it trigger another good things, right? And then relationships can become better and better. Same thing for children and parents as well, right? Apply the same logic. My father, right? Daughter to father relationship sometimes is good, but sometimes it's distant, right? So you can think about same thing for your relationship with your parents as well. So it's a really continuous effort we have to put into, and then through that we can really create these beautiful relationships, and we can find it that this is awesome. I'm really glad that the fight we had is all good, right? There's no bad fight. If we don't give up, keep talking, fighting, there's no bad fight. Do the good fight. Esther, do the good fight. Okay, so let's read Father Moon's word. For great realm of heart, spouse heart, without traditions of sacrifice for one another, love is broken easily. When degree of sacrifice and sincere effort for one another is extended beyond themselves, blessing comes to a couple. Such a family is blessed, and God dwells in the family, right? So you have to put on effort. You have to sacrifice, right? Sometimes you have to change yourself, right, for your spouse. The way you talk, the way you relate, the way you think, you have to really see your spouse and adjust, sacrifice, right? That's very important. So I like to share this beautiful photo. This is Chombo interview. I recently did it with Bruno and Keiko-san. So we discuss about all life of a faith, all the Chombo, right, blessing, and all the things. And at the end, I really see that, wow, how beautiful life. The Bruno and Keiko-san together, walk this path together, driving the car, right? There are many bumpy roads, but they kind of together drove so well and reached this moment of a Chombo interview. So I really appreciate your dedication for our faith, right? And then our movement. And I have more pictures, but every couple I see that the beauty of this harmonious union, I can see from the couple. So let's really create that and work together. And also, I want to conclude with this one slide from True Father. Who are the true husband and true wife? They should consider their spouse to be their eternal object of love, and their love should grow day by day, adding more and more love to the first love. It's like a virtuous circle. You put in your love, right, and try to get better, then it make another, right? By keep adding your love, true love, it creates the virtuous circle. And when husband and wife as a substantial body of eternal love can extend family level love to the love of tribe, they can be considered as a true husband and true wife. Then they can also participate in God's love. So let's start converting this vicious circle you had with your spouse or your relationship with anyone. Right? Let's convert that into a virtuous circle through the exercise we discussed, and create more energy, momentum to build strong, rock-solid, loving relationships. Right? Let's do. Then we'll see, like many of you guys feel like, yes, I really resemble God with my spouse. We are the harmonious union of heavenly parents, God, right? When you have that, many couples reach that and experience that, the world, right, will really experience that kingdom of God and earth and heaven, right? That's the work we have to do together. That's the life phase. That's the journey we are walking together with our spouse. So anyone not married yet, but keep that in mind, right? When you're starting your journey, you got the driver license, start driving, think about how I can understand my husband and going through this journey together. Avoid the big obstacle, right? In advance. You saw that coming. You avoid it in advance. Don't just leave that alone and then making that big problem later. Okay? So let's reflect ourselves and our relationship with our spouse and really have a blessed life God's given to us, right? So thank you, everyone.